So I have actually made my layer panel a little bit larger so you can see it. Just to review, your tools are on the left side. If you want your toolbar to look like mine, there's a little tiny button in the top right corner with 2 little arrows, and it makes it go from this like long bar to a short condensed bar. Up to you how you want to display it, but I always like it to be a little bit more condensed. And then you have your history bar up at the top. Command Z will get you to back 1 step by pressing undo, and then Command Alt, I believe, takes you back further. So we've added our first layer, which is your face. So I want you to click on that layer and when you double click over the text on that layer, it'll allow you to type in face and label it as such. After that happens, I want you to go down to the little post-it note that looks like it has its little corner flipped up at the bottom of your layer panel, and that will give you a brand new layer. And we're going to call this one neck. Down to the post-it note with the corner flipped up. Once you click it, it's going to add a new layer, and it will probably add it above your face. So label it neck by double clicking and typing in neck. And then you can click and drag your layers to go above or below any layer. So if you click with your mouse and drag, you can drag it above or below. And the hierarchy of the layers is very important. I like to call it a sandwich, but it's really distinguishing between the background, foreground, and middle ground. And the reason I call it a sandwich is because you have your bottom piece of bread, which would be your background, and then all of the good stuff in between would be your middle ground, and then you have the layer on top, your bread, which is your foreground. But the layers may have to go in the correct order because everything overlaps. So, for instance, if my neck layer was on top of my face layer, it would cut off my chin. It looks goofy, right? But if I drag it below my face layer, now my chin is overlapping my neck. So layer hierarchy is very important. So to create your neck, all you have to do is go to your polygonal lasso tool, and these little eyeballs on the side of your layers will turn on and turn off your layer so that it's visible or invisible. So I am going to turn my face layer off because I don't need to see it at the moment. I just want to create my neck. Now, I noticed when I created my neck that it looked a little goofy. That my shirt was a V-neck yesterday, and you can't see like the bottom of it, and it looked goofy in like the composition. So I just am going to cut it straight across instead and make it part of my shirt layer, right? So like, because I had that V-neck, mine just looked a little goofy. So keep in mind, like if you had a V-neck on yesterday, you didn't get that bottom part of your shirt. If your neck just gets cut off there, you can just bring it straight across. But it doesn't look like anybody had the issue. But always pay attention to what that composition looks like. Okay, if for some reason something disappears in your toolbar, and I'm going to finish this polygonal lasso real fast. Remember that you have to close off your polygonal lasso tool by having this little tiny circle show up next to your polygonal lasso it tells you that it's closing off, and then you get your marching ants. But if something goes awry and your workspace is something disappears for some reason, always go to Window. Down at the bottom, there's a little Window is at the very, very top. And down at the bottom, there's a little tool menu. And you just click next to it, and it will turn on your tools and turn off your tools. Also, if things get really messed up and you just want to get back to your basics, Workshop Reset Essentials is where you need to go. Okay, so I have my neck highlighted, and I just went across my chin because it was the easiest way to do so. Like I said, this is going to be underneath my head layer, so my chin will overlap. When I fill this area in, I want to source a lighter skin tone. So there was a decent amount of light on my neck, and so I'm going to source that color. Because I wanted to differentiate from my face. So I'm going to source that color and then go to the paint bucket, and I'm going to fill it in. Remember that the paint bucket is hiding underneath your gradient layer, and so to get to the paint bucket, you have to click on the gradient tool if you didn't get there yesterday, and then you have to go down to your bucket tool. And then you fill it in. To deselect, to get rid of your selection or to get rid of the marching ants, you go Command D. And Command D will deselect. Just double click. And then Command D. It either needs to be lighter or darker. It just needs to be a different shade than your face. Double click and then Command D.
No, wait, so was this the right lasso that I was using?
Yep, correct lasso.
Oh, then,
Command D will deselect. So if your polygonal lasso tool gets out of hand, right? If you like all of a sudden you're like off in the distance and you're like, I don't know what happened and it's crazy and it's not closed and I don't know what happened, right? All you have to do is double click and it will turn into marching ants. And you can either do Command D, which will deselect, or double clicking again should get you out of it. Let's see if I can recreate. I would do Command D because it will be the easiest.
What's undo? Is it Control Z?
Control Z, undo. Yep.
It's not working.
Command Z.
Oh. Yeah, still not working. Oh.
Now, once you have your neck down, then you should be able to confidently create your shirt by going to a new layer. So again, down to the Post-it note. Change the label on the layer to shirt. You will trace whatever the shirt looks like, right? And you may have two parts to your shirt, and that's totally fine. I was just wearing one color yesterday. But if you just have one layer, that's fine, or two, that's fine as well. All you have to do is draw outside, and then do your color select. with your eyedropper. And then fill with the paint bucket. Again, if you want to see like how to get to these tools quickly, if you just pressed L on your keyboard, it would get you to the lasso tool really quickly. If you pressed I on your keyboard, it would get you to your eyedropper. And if you press G on your keyboard, it will get you to the paint bucket quickly. So those are all your hotkeys.